Why do they call you Super Strength Spider-Man? Seems legit.
You suck.
Hey guys, now you can follow me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/UltraMaximusReviews. Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus back with another retro review, and today we're going to take it all the way back to 2006 with the Super Strength Spider-Man. Now this figure kind of predates the Marvel Legends set in the fact that it's, I think, the Spider-Man Classics line. The box itself just said The Amazing Spider-Man on it, but it's definitely an early forerunner to the Marvel Legends figures, which is always fun to kind of go back and take a look at. Of course, it is from Toy Biz, and the gimmick on this figure, it came with, like, it looked like a piece of a building or a computer or something that he sat in and he could rip it apart, which was interesting because the figure itself actually doesn't have the gimmick in it. It was the device it sat in that tore the building pieces apart and made him super strong, I guess. I don't know. Basically, he would sit in the device and he would sit essentially like that, and then the thing would like come apart, and yeah, that's why it was called Super Strength Spider-Man. Sure, why not? If that's what they want to do to sell toys, more power to them. Now, I actually found this guy at my local flea market in the 5 for 5 bin. I was like, ooh, hey, look, a Spider-Man figure. And I knew it was a Toy Biz figure, but I didn't know really which one it was until I got home. And yeah, I was pretty excited. I was like, ooh, fun. I'm always about finding a really neat kind of obscure figure out of the past, and this definitely is one because I have no recollection of him at all. Now, this comes from an age where the paint jobs were a little better, I think, than they are today. Lots of blackwashing on this guy, which is really, really cool and kind of gives him a very dark comic look from like the late 90s to early 2000s versus kind of some of the brighter stuff we see today. And this guy is chock full of articulation, so his head goes back and forth. He looks down that far. He looks up pretty darn far. His arms go all the way around. They have a hinge swing out. He has a twist at the upper arm. He has a double jointed elbow, which is cool. There's a twist at the forearm, which is nice. He has a hinge on his wrist. His fingers are also articulated. They can, if I can, it's so tiny, if I can get my hands in here, they can hinge backwards like that so that you've got out of focus Spider-Man. There we go. His fingers hinge inward. They do move so that you can get the flipping action, which is nice. And there's the hinge there and the twist right there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. He can crunch that far forward. He goes back just a little bit. There's a twist at the waist. His legs are on that weird, not quite a ball socket. They hinge outward. They move forward. There's a twist right at the top of the thigh, which is very strange. He's got a double jointed knee. Then there is a twist at the upper leg at the boot. There's a hinge right there at the ankle. There's also a hinge at the toe, but this figure is so old they don't want to move, and I really don't want to break him. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as articulation goes, which is quite a bit considering the age of the figure, and is definitely impressive. So taking a closer look at the figure itself, I like the sculpt of the figure. It reminds me a lot of the old comic book incarnations of Spidey. Love the blackwash on the paint. The Spider's a little offset as far as the paint goes, but that kind of happened back in the day. Just love that kind of dirty red look. I think that looks cool. All of the sculpted detail on the webbing. He's got the great big egg spider on the back, which I've always loved. Very comic booky. I kind of wish they would go back to that. Definitely very cool, and it's iconic Spider-Man. He's got kind of the smaller eyes than what I'm used to with Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man with the great big eyes, but there are a lot of incarnations where he's got eye sockets like this. Now, taking a look at the middle section of the figure, he's got his little web belt that kind of goes around the entire costume. The webbing on the suit goes all the way down to the fingers. Again, I love the black wash all over the figure. Love the fact he's got the fingers that can move in and out for web slinging. I think that is very cool. The waist, it was a little goofy to me around his hips and where his legs meet. It's kind of awkward to get him in certain poses. But a lot of these figures had that issue back in the day. And finally, taking a look at the legs of the figure, again, I love the paint detail on the boots. We've got the sculpted webbing on there, and the black wash just makes it look really, really cool. He doesn't have the ankle rocker pivot that we're used to in the modern figures, but it is what it is. It does have the toe articulation, but this one, like I said, so old that the joints don't really want to move, and I don't want to risk breaking it because it's kind of old, but definitely a nice touch to detail. For comparison, here we have the super strength Spider-Man next to the black suit Marvel Legends Spider-Man and the Iron Spider with the legs from the movie line, Avengers Infinity War. And as you can see, he's a little bit shorter than the modern Marvel Legends figure and about the same height as the movie line figure. So he's probably about 5 inches tall, which, it's not bad. I mean, I always thought Spider-Man was a little shorter than some of the other heroes out there, so it will work in a Marvel collection, and especially if you've got an old Toy Biz collection. So is the Super Strength Spider-Man a figure that you want in your Spider-Man collection? Well, you know, if you're collecting as many Spider-Mans from across the time wave as possible, I suppose this is something that you would want to get. If you like the old Toy Biz stuff, after the 90s, like the Spider-Man Classics type of figures, this is definitely one I think you might like in the collection. It has a very comic book feel, and that's what you're after, then this is definitely something that would be really cool to pick up. Now, in package, I was looking online, and this thing can kind of go for some big bucks in package. If you can find it loose, I would definitely say pick it up, but there's nothing extraordinary about it to make me want to spend a lot of money on it. The fact I only paid $1 for it, you know, is perfectly fine with me. It's a nice figure. It looks cool. I love the black wash and the paint apps on it, and it kind of reminds me of the heyday of Toy Biz action figures, which is very cool, and it's just kind of fun to have a different Spider-Man up on the shelf. So there he is, the Super Strength Spider-Man from Toy Biz.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, thumbs it up. If you hate this video, thumbs it down. To watch more Ultra Maximus, click on the links to the right. Don't forget to subscribe and share, like us on Facebook, and look for more videos in the future.